my team who believe that everything should be given to everybody. AI is not going to be something which can be utilized only by few, and therefore you will find that there are a lot of OpenStack companies, there are guys building stuff on double licensing, where everything is free. All what you need to do is to just, get in there and start utilizing it for your benefit. Then there are adopters, right? There are adopters like companies saying, look, I want to distinguish myself, making myself actually different from the others, giving me cutting edge, so I adopt AI. Then of course there's the regulator. KPMG is also, the advocacy firm with, the Ministry of Information, where we are trying to figure out how much should you regulate. If you regulate too much, is it good, bad? Should you be like China? What should you exactly do? Right? So these three are the communities that are coming into play. There are 4 or 5 things that I'd like to leave you with, and he's promised to keep me honest on time, and in case he does, then I will just make sure I stick by what I promised to him. So in customer centricity, right, the most important thing I'd like to leave with is that today is a day of whether, if you imagine this stage as 2 ends of a spectrum, right, you have convenience on one side, you have customization on the other. Do you want to really know, whether the Uber driver had a great day, or you want to just get the cab immediately? Do you want to know your relationship manager, or do you want to just go to a portal which works immediately? So there is a customer who probably just would love it if you provide service without actually inconveniencing them. On the other end, you have maybe, customization, same thing, banks. You take relationship manager, I want to have heavy customization. I know Kalpana has a teenage son, maybe he will go out to study, maybe I should sell some product, but heavily customized, therefore the level of data that you need at a macro and a micro level to that spectrum and this spectrum differs a lot. So you need to choose what you want to do and who you want to do it with in terms of an intervention with AI. Second thing I spoke about briefly, you reimagine, you don't renovate. It's a very important word, reimagine, where you can probably see how business model can be completely broken, right? The third one, of course, is morality in AI. How do I not make the machine have a bias that I have, right? How do I make the machine mindful? If any of you have colleagues in Silicon Valley, the most sought after course in UCLA is actually emotional intelligence with artificial intelligence. You would wonder why that's the case, right? But people are trying to teach, it's like a parent, you have responsibility like a parent. Last one, of course, is cyber. If you are going to be attacked by people who are much smarter than you, then you need to build something which is slightly at least 1 second smarter than them. So, so do you have self-governing capability on cyber? What would be your approach, and cost? And that would be another kind of a thing. I've just borrowed it from my good friend Phil Hirsch. This is his favorite slide, which he says that, actually these companies didn't kill something. The fact that somebody didn't bother about the customer actually killed the other people who were not able to provide service like them. And I have one, favorite point, yes, on future skills, and I think we'll get a chance to talk about that. I think we need to reimagine what the human being will do as well. And I'd like to respectfully say that for any of us who believes skeptically that this is for the future, I think the future is now. It's happening here. Yeah, thank
you. I would invite Vinayak to share his thoughts.
Thank you, Bispin, for giving this opportunity. First of all, let me try and summarize what Kalpana spoke in terms of what is AI in 3 to 4 sentences, and then share the experiences that we at Mindtree have had in implementing solutions which match to those. So when we think of artificial intelligence, there are multiple aspects. One is vision, whether it is video, whether it is text, whether it is images. The second is listen and speech, voice to text, text to voice, conversational AI, conversational technologies which you can see in our stall outside. The third is most important thing in terms of processing that information. Data is there everywhere today. Through digital transformation, data is being generated at a huge speed. How do we make use of this data? How do we make best use of this data when 90% of the data that is generated is not really useful? So how do we derive insights out of this data? How can we look at the data, use it for interpreting it, analyzing it, and then use it for recommending certain actions? So with this, I conclude my description of AI and get into stories. So the first story I mentioned is that of video analytics, which is Vision. So at Mindtree, we have a product which focuses on video analytics. If there is a video camera installed over here, which can track the number of people over here, which can track objects that ought to be there, ought not to be there, and alert. Very simplistic functionality, but at the back of it, imagine the amount of video frames that need to be analyzed and identified any changes in the pattern that it is seeing, identifying if that pattern is something dangerous or something like a cat moving on a lawn, and alert the departments respectively. So video analytics is one definitely in there. The second part is text analytics. Text analytics could be as simple as how do I have a conversational app. So if you have seen in our stall, you would see something called as Macy, and it's a chatbot which we use at work. If I want to apply for leave